In yesterday's video, you lot saw me start the design process of creating this weird lowered into the ground bath, and the issue with it is quickly becoming an absolute nightmare, and I am seriously considering putting the floor joist back in and just putting a shower tray in, because that is effortless, whereas this is going to require a lot of thought, and I'm not actually sure if it's even going to be worth it. Now, the good news is it is not raining today. I should be able to do all of the flashing, mastic the skylight in. It should all go completely perfectly today, and I cannot see what could possibly go wrong. Currently I have no windows on the house, and therefore the rain is getting in, so my thought is I'm not going to take out that damaged skylight that I put in the other day, which is currently just very sketchily balanced in place. So if there is a strong gust of wind, it could potentially fall out, but as I said, that is an already damaged skylight, and therefore I don't really care about it. And it's actually quite nice. It allowed me to do a proper test run of installing it, and I learned a lot from the process of that. I also just realised that I'm going to have to go to Screwfix to pick up that flashing tape that I had ordered, so that's changed the plan for this morning a little bit. I'm doing a lot of juggling at the moment, and I can't juggle, so I'm dropping a lot of stuff. But anyway, the reason that I am leaving that skylight in place is just so it actually protects the house at the moment from the rain, which we are due to get this weekend. And I'm pretty confident I'll be able to get one skylight in today, but again, knowing me, nothing ever goes according to plan. So if I get one skylight in, that will be a success. Now, the thing that I learned from installing the previous skylight is when I am lifting into place, the outstand is sliding along the upstand in order to lift it into the final place where it will sit. Now, that works perfectly, but the issue is normally when you're installing a skylight on a flat roof, you would put mastic all the way around. If you don't know what mastic is, it's just basically like I don't even know how to explain it, a glue type thing, and you need to add quite a lot of it. So whatever the amount you see me do, you probably should add more, but I'm very cheap, so I try and get away with doing as little as possible. But the issue is that you need to add that to the outstand first, but if I am sliding the skylight up into the outstand, then that would obviously remove all of the mastic as I'm sliding the glass along the timber. So my thought is to kind of get the skylight into place, and then at that stage either add the mastic at the bottom part of the outstand or straight onto the back part of the glass. Now, the issue is I don't think this is going to be particularly glamorous and will probably cause quite the mess. But if you do make a mess with this stuff, just take a razor blade to it, and it's very easy to clean if you do end up getting it on the visible part of the glass. I also saw a comment which was, because obviously I am the most accurate person in the world at cutting timber, there is a little bit of a gap between the outstand and the stud work, because whoever put the stud work in didn't do a very good job of making sure that it was all plumb and square. I mean, it's pretty good, but over the 3 meter distance, I am a little bit out with my measurements. And so one of you suggested buying some spray foam to fill in that little gap. So I went and bought some of that. Any chance that I get to use it, I will always buy it. And then that sent me down a loophole as well, thinking, should I buy a spray insulation kit when it comes to insulating the stud walls? Because this is commonly done in America, where they use this kind of like 2-part gas-powered insulation spray gun, and therefore you don't have to cut any insulation to go between the stud walls. You just spray it, the foam expands, then you just take a hedge trimmer to it and cut it back to the studs, and you've got perfectly insulated walls with 0 air gap. The issue of it is I think the kit is quite expensive, so I'll probably just buy the cheapest form of insulation, which is likely to be rock wool, which is like a blanket of insulation that you put within the stud walls. It's a lot nicer to cut than solid insulation like the boards that I've got. Then on top of that, to make it even more insulated, I think I'm going to use insulated back plasterboard, but then that will reduce the width of the tiny house a little bit, because obviously that will then eat into the rooms a bit more. So I'm not really too sure. I cannot wait to get on with the kitchen and the bathroom and everything, because as this is my forever house, I can go a bit over the top with the designing and really think, how can I make this so efficient and exactly what I have always wanted? Because normally when you're doing a project, it is super stressful, and I have always wanted to spend pretty much as little money as possible. Now, nothing really has changed that much, except for the fact this is a lot smaller project, And therefore, if I wanted to buy some super nice marble or granite for this kitchen, it's going to cost a lot less than, say, if I were to buy that same marble for the London project. Because, yeah, that kitchen compared to this is just a little bit of a difference in size. I think that kitchen alone is bigger than this house. So I cannot wait to get on with all of that stuff. I saw somebody saying that they doubt I'm going to be able to move in by 2024, which is in 24 days. And I might not be the brightest tool in the shed, but the one thing that people like my brother and my friends have is this ability to just work and not whinge, not complain. Well, a little bit of complaining, but we don't stop. It's okay as long as you keep moving and you do not stop. And that is the key thing. It's all momentum. It's either working with you or against you. But if you stop, you're going to stay in exactly the same position. People have a real fear of pursuing their dream, starting their own business, leaving their 9 to 5. But you shouldn't be scared of doing that sort of thing. What you should be scared of is if you're in a place where you don't want to be, you should be terrified of staying there. There is somebody that I used to know who always said they're going to do this, they're going to do that. And they've never followed up. They never have stuck to a plan. They've never felt what it's like to go from a point where you're like, there is such a low probability this is going to work, but if I just keep going, at least I can figure out if it is possible. And then as soon as you get the taste of a little bit of success of just going from a point where you don't know how you're going to do something to then figuring it out and it working, that builds so much confidence. So when you say, Chris, there's no way you're going to move in here by 2024, there is no way I am not going to move in here. I genuinely don't see how I'm not going to be able to, because I mean the house is basically done. I've got a window balanced in place, which is leaking, by the way, because obviously the skylight is just balanced, so it went down the inside pane of glass and landed on the inside of the outstand. So that kind of shows the importance of mastic and sealing the skylight properly, because imagine if all of that outstand had plasterboard surrounding it and paint, and then the water landed on it, then the plasterboard starts to go all mouldy and disgusting. It would be an absolute nightmare. But the good news is with any leaks and things is you can stop them and you can figure out a way to fix it. And considering a majority of the houses my brother and me have bought already have leaks in the roof, I've got pretty good at just fixing things and problem solving. So in order to be able to move in, what I really need is it to be completely watertight, the subfloor down, which I mean, I've got 2 boards down, that's basically that job done. There is just no way that I'm not going to be able to move in here by 2024. Honestly, it's just going to happen. I'm starting to panic because almost a third of the amount of time has passed and I have literally done the square root of Jack, which is annoying because I am running around quite a lot at the moment trying to get to the tiny house, even if it is for an hour or 2. So this is going to be a real challenge, so I can understand people who are saying there's no way I'd be able to move in by then, but I've set it as a goal and I'm going to keep striving for it. But as you can see, installing the skylight went pretty well today. I mean, it was definitely a challenge. Thanks for all of the messages and comments of ways that I can be improving and doing things, and I was actually amazed to see people saying that I was actually doing a pretty good job with the flashing tape, with how I was doing all of the layering, because even though when I googled that you put the flashing tape on top of the Tyvek, I was like, are you sure this is what I should be doing, because it feels a little bit wrong. But apparently that is the way that you do it, and I mean, we're going to figure out over the next few weeks if these things stay watertight, and if they don't, I will update you on it and I'll show you where I've gone wrong, because that's the important thing. Is it's all right to make mistakes, but then just leaving it as being a mistake, that's where people mess up. How does that saying go? Things left to themselves tend to go from bad to worse, and with water, definitely if left with no attention, your house is going to start rotting. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you tomorrow in a bit.